How much fun can you really have in Disney when you're sick and there's a hurricane?
Let's unpack the magic.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of the Team Unicorn Podcast. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sammy.
And today we are fully unpacked from our last Disney trip, and we are here to unpack our experience to everyone.
Yes. So welcome to our Walt Disney World November 2022 recap.
Yeah. As you might have guessed, we are still feeling a little sick from Disney.
Yep.
You probably hear us in last week's episode. We were feeling a little under the weather as well. But we definitely we brought home a lot more than just a sinus infection or an illness here. So we just wanted to go over and recap our entire trip, what we liked, what we didn't like, what were some unique experiences.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I guess
some things we learned along the way.
Yeah, I feel like we learned quite a bit on this trip.
Yeah, sure did.
I guess we'll preface by saying this probably wasn't our most favorite trip to Disney.
I'll agree with that statement, yes. Definitely very memorable. Maybe not for the best reasons.
Right.
But it was still a Disney trip, and we still got to do a lot of like new and fun things. So
yeah, and so I guess we'll just kind of go through each day.
Yeah.
Kind of go through what we did, what was good, what was bad, what we learned from the trip, and just kind of take you through our trip with us.
Yeah.
You want to start off?
Yeah, so we left on Friday, November 4th.
Yep.
Very early flight out of Milwaukee. So.
Yeah, we left Green Bay because it's about a 2-hour drive down to Milwaukee. Yeah. And what time we leave about?
We left at like 2.
Yeah, about 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was a fun wake up or a fun call. But I think like we were both kind of up before the alarm went off. Just, I guess, ready to go.
Yeah, like we really didn't sleep that much just because like our sleep schedule is just weird.
I always remember I always see those memes like on Disney Food Blogger all years, and they were like, well, like the day before a Disney trip, how'd you sleep? And he's like, good, I got a full 40 minutes. That's literally how it always is.
For sure.
It just works out very nice for us to leave really super early in the morning, but then I always kind of grumble because I have to be the one driving down to Milwaukee at 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, because it was either like a 6:30 a.m. flight or a 6:30 p.m. flight.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of variance.
I mean, unless we wanted to those were for direct flights or nonstop flights. So I mean, we could have gotten like a mid-morning flight, but then you're still getting down there like.
And I think it was late. A lot more expensive too.
So that's what we chose. So then we could still enjoy like a half day at a park, which is what we chose to do. We chose to do Hollywood Studios when we got there. And we were at the airport and we did Genie Plus for the first time.
Yeah, in Disney World, it's the first time doing Disney Plus there. We did it quite a bit in Disneyland. But this is the first time in Disney World, and I feel like just with all like the YouTube videos we watch from like the Mammoth Club or like All Years or Disney Food Blog, like it worked out really nice for Hollywood Studios, which was our first park, to do some lightning lane stacking.
Yeah, for sure. If you're, highly recommend Genie Plus. I know it's expensive, but it just allows you to pretty much get on like all the rides, and if you can stack them.
Yeah, so we stacked. By stacking, we mean we booked one as early as we could, and then you have a 2-hour window to either use that lightning lane, or if you don't use it, like book it out as in the afternoon, and then after 2 hours you can book another one. So essentially we just kept booking out for as far as we could into the afternoon, where we knew like for sure like we would be in Disney World, we would be in the park. And then 2 hours later, which just happened to be once we got off the plane, then we booked another lightning lane. And then I think it was right before we got into the park.
We could book
another one. So we walked into we walked into Hollywood Studios with 3 lightning lanes and Rise of the Resistance.
We did purchase Rise that day,
which is a separate charge.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, like Genie Plus feels like it's highly recommended, but with a caveat, I hate it. Like
I know. I hate that you have to pay for it.
I hate that you have to use it to utilize, especially like in Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Like it just seems like those are the 2 parks that like you really get your bang out of your buck for it. Just because there's so many different rides, or there's so many hard to get on rides. But don't be fooled that this isn't like a glowing review. Genie Plus, like I absolutely hate that this is a thing. I don't like that we have to use it, but we kind of had to use it.
Yeah, we did. Just because, we don't get to go that often, and I don't want to spend the majority of my trip waiting in like 60+ minute lines for things. Like I refuse to wait 60 minutes for any ride. Like that's just not happening. So we just made sure to like budget that, in our plans. So we knew that we were going to pay for Genie Plus at least one day in every park.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of weird, like hopping on the airplane, we were in Milwaukee, like at the terminal waiting for the plane to board. And at that point we had already spent like $60 some on the Genie Plus for the 3 of us.
Yep.
And then paying an additional $60 some for the individual lightning lane for Rise. So like, you're not even leaving your home airport.
We weren't even on Disney property.
We weren't even on Disney property or even in their time zone, and we were already spent like $120. And that's why I preface by saying I hate that this is a paid add-on, but it is very, very valuable.
Yeah.
So we get to the hotel. Room's not ready yet, but we were able to kind of talk with someone at the front desk, and we were able to get a room to put our stuff in right away and get changed and get ready to go for the park. Like I said, we got to the park and we were just able to book another lightning lane right as we were getting there. So we got into the park with 3 lightning lanes and Rides of Resistance, and that night was pretty fun.
Yeah, we got a lot done that night for it only being like a half day. Like I don't remember what we all did, but I know we did Slinky Dog, Rock and Roller Coaster. We did have Toy Story Mania, but that ended up going down. So we got
like a free lightning lane, but we wound up not being able to use it.
No, because you couldn't use it on
Mickey and Minnie's.
Yeah, and that's what we were going to use it on.
But we had already gotten to Mickey Minnie's.
Yeah.
I think other the main ones we weren't able to do were Tower of Terror and Toy Story Mania.
Yeah.
But we got to do the Millennium Falcon. We got to pilot the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Jay and I did. It was a really, really good night first night in Hollywood Studios.
It was really good. We ate at Ronto Roasters. I tried the plant-based one for the first time.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was really good. For just being all vegetables, like I thought it was pretty tasty. So yeah. I don't know. It was a really good night. And then we weren't sure on the line for Fantasmic because that was
kind of crazy.
Yeah, like because people had started lining up really early, and we were talking to cast members just to see because this was like 2.5, 3 hours before the show, and we did not really want to wait that long, but also at the same time we didn't want to not see it, and with us being up so early, we didn't want to wait for the second show, so this was for the first show, and
yeah. So I guess a little bit more backstory on that. We were there on the 4th, and it just opened up on the 3rd
of November
for the general public.
Yeah.
So we're literally there day 2. If you're familiar with the layout of Sunset Boulevard, and where the entrance to Fantasmic is right by the bathrooms before you kind of go straight to Tower of Terror, the line started there, and it went all the way down Sunsets to kind of right by the first shop, right on the right there.
Yeah, because it didn't go all the way down Sunset.
But it was pretty far back.
It was pretty far back. So talking to cast members, they said that everyone that lined up the night before for the first show got in for the first show, and it was even further back than what it was. But yeah, so I think we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do, but we had done so much and it was already an early day. Like I was okay just sitting down and
so we wound up getting in line, and I mean we wound up, it was almost 2 hours by the time we got in line to the time Fantasmic started. I mean, we were sitting down in the amphitheater for most of that time. I actually did some mobile ordering for some food or for some snacks and went back onto Sunset, which you were able to do, which is really, really nice. But that, it didn't feel like, it kind of felt like a waste, but like once we saw Fantasmic for the first time, like it was perfect just to sit down and relax there after such a long travel day and after such, it was pretty warm that afternoon, and getting to sit down and just kind of relax before Fantasmic. It actually worked out really nice in the end.
Yeah, but I guess like knowing what we know now, like you definitely don't need like to wait 2 hours for it. Like, yeah, I guess had we known, we probably would have like snuck in like a half hour, maybe 45 minutes before the show, and you still could have gotten it. Like, and it seems like there really isn't a bad seat in that theater. Like you can definitely, like, I mean, it seats a lot of people. And I think no matter where you sit, like you're going to be able to see everything.
And that was something I wasn't like, we've never been back there before, so I didn't really know what to experience. Like it was a very long winding path all the way back to the amphitheater. And once you're in there, you realize, oh, like this can seat a lot of people. Like you probably could have, like you said, showed up about a half hour, 45 minutes. You might have been in the back or like, off to the side or in the standing room area, but like you still would have been able to see it. It was incredible.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like, and when we were trying to stay away from spoilers, because we didn't want to like know anything like new that they had changed or added. But yeah, that show is amazing. I cried. Like, it's so good.
Like it was something that like, and we kind of knew about it because we had watched it in like a while ago. I think around, like after we missed it for like our first trip, or whatever, we watched it once on YouTube, and like I guess I wasn't like super impressed by it, but like you don't really get like the full scope of things when you're watching it on YouTube, and that's just in general. But just seeing like Mickey kind of be at the top of the mountain with all the lasers and then he's down at the bottom with the pyro, or seeing the tugboat come out with all the characters on there, and then the new additions of Mulan and Aladdin and Elsa and Moana. The Elsa scene, that really got us.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that it's so good. So yeah, I definitely recommend watching that if you are in Hollywood Studios.
So that was a really fun night. And then because there was 2 showings, they kind of took us like out like backstage.
Yeah, you actually get to exit. Well, and they did it. I don't know if that's just like their regular exit, because we did that for the second time we watched Fantasmic too. But you get to like walk behind like the Beauty and the Beast
the stage.
But I think that's just how they, because there's so many, like it seats so many people. But
so that was a really good night, and we really enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, we got a lot done, and
a lot of that was thanks to Genie Plus. And then so after that, second day was Saturday was our Magic Kingdom day.
Yep, that was our full day in Magic Kingdom, and boy was it hot. Like I was not expecting it to be so warm. Like it was almost 90 degrees, and I think with the heat index it was probably like right at like 90 degrees, full sun.
It was.
So I definitely wasn't expecting that, because last year it was just nice. I remember the weather was just nice. So I'm just like, oh yeah, it's such a great time to go. And I think normally it is. Like I think like 80 degrees is like.
But boy, did the weather not cooperate with us.
Oh my gosh. Trip. Yeah. So but anyway, so it was warm, but we did Magic Kingdom.
Hopped on the Jingle Cruise in the morning. That was fun to see. We got to experience that for the first time last year, but this was Jay's first time experiencing the Jingle Cruise. Right. We had a really great skipper.
Oh yeah, she was really good.
She was really good.
Lots of fun holiday jokes, and but we had Genie Plus, so we definitely got to do quite a bit there.
And that was another part that I recommend Genie Plus if you're trying to maximize your day out of it. We did quite a bit on Genie Plus. You didn't need to do a whole lot of standby queue. I think we maybe did like Pirates and standby or something. But we got to accomplish pretty much everything that morning, because we got in there. We didn't like rope drop, but we got in there still just a little earlier before the regular
like just before
like just regular ticketed.
Yeah, because I think we did Space.
We did Space Mountain right away.
Over to Space. But yeah, I don't know. It was still good. We got a lot done. You and I went back to the hotel that day because it was so warm.
Yeah.
Just took like a little break, and then we came back for the evening. Because was that Skipper Canteen Day?
Yes, we went to Skipper Canteen for dinner.
That was really good.
I was very impressed by Skipper Canteen. We've talked about going to that restaurant for a while. It's the Jungle Cruise themed restaurant in Adventureland. We wound up not being able to do it on our last trip just because we were tired and we weren't really feeling it that day.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we made the time and the effort to do it because the food was great. The atmosphere was really, really immersive. Getting to go into we were seated in the main kind of the skipper room.
Yes.
But then we got to go like kind of scope out the little library and the sea room back there. So that was really, really fun. Yeah, and the food was incredible.
Food was so good. We got an appetizer. We got the
falafels.
The falafels. So yummy. And then I got the Dan noodles, which they're the cast member was like, it's spicy.
Oh yeah, they made sure it was super spicy.
And I'm just, which I knew, and I'm just like, yes, I love spicy food, and I'm like totally fine with me. But when I get it, like, it was not spicy at all.
Not at all.
And I don't know if it's just because like I can handle like a little bit of spice. But to me, I couldn't taste any spice. But yeah, and then Jay got the steak, which he said that was really good, and then you got the tastes like chicken because it is. Yeah. And that was good. Yeah,
and Jay's and I's weren't too adventurous. It was just steak and chicken, but it was plated really well and seasoned really well. A lot of nice vegetables on it with some rice. It was a good big meal for not wanting to have a big meal. There was still kind of room. I didn't feel too heavy after it. But like I said, like you go in there like. It's just a really cool experience.
It is, yeah, especially if you're like a big fan of the Jungle Cruise attraction and SCA, like all of that. So yeah, it was just really cool, and I would definitely eat there again.
So that night, that day we wound up doing all the mountains. So I remember we did Splash.
Yep, we did do all the mountains
at night. So that was really fun to do. We wound up seeing Enchantment, which was a really good night for fireworks.
Yeah. We got our Dole Whips.
Got the Dole Whips. that was fun. So we made our way over to the hub to watch the fireworks, and we were on like the Adventureland side of the hub. And when we had come back from our little break, you really wanted cheeseburger spring rolls. From the spring roll cart right outside the Adventureland Bridge, and we went there and they didn't have them.
Yeah.
I knew you were a little upset about that, so we decided we wanted a different treat later on.
Yeah.
And we wound up getting Dole Whips at night.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, well, why don't you stay here?
Yeah.
in the hub, and then I'll go check over to Aloha Isle and get us some Dole Whips. Perfectly fine. So I'm going by there. I'm really feeling it. It's pretty dead because like everyone's going up by fireworks. Go up there in order. Start walking back, and like I have 2 Dole Whips in my hand, like the Dole Whip floats, and they are just melting. And I'm just like, it's Disney. What you gonna do about it? I see a PhotoPass photographer, and I'm just like, hey. Are you busy? You want to take my picture? And she's like, sure. So here I am with like 2 melting Dole Whip floats, just walking through Adventureland. And all I'm thinking is like the Lost Bros Tiki Room song is like, oh, what I'd be is just walking through Adventureland, Dole Whip in my hand, camel spitting on me, not caring what I'm up to. And it's exactly how it was. Like I felt like that, like that just like in the Disney magic right there. And then getting through the hub was just
Yeah, because it
Oh,
started
it
filling
was,
up. Like when he left, like there was definitely like you could definitely get to us like pretty easy, but then like it just started filling up, and I'm like, he's not making it back to us, is he?
I was gonna make, and I think made it back within like 5 minutes, but like I'm holding these Dole Whips, and like I said, they're melting. It's like pouring down my hands, and I'm kind of just walking through, and like people are at like a stopping standstill, like in the spot where you're supposed to be moving or kind of keep it open, and I'm just like, excuse me. Hey, I'm sorry, I got melting Dole Whips. I don't want to get it on you, so you better move out of my way. I'm sorry, and like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like be kind of, I don't know, as boisterous as I can, to the fact that like people are aware that I have melting Dole Whips in my hand so that they
Yeah.
get out of my way. Got there, and some lady gave me some baby wipes
Yep.
afterwards, and it was perfect. And then we got to see Enchantment for the last time.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really gonna miss this show. I know it's not Happily Ever After, and we've had this discussion in the past, and I'm very happy to see Happily Ever After to come back, but it's just
Yeah.
something with Enchantment, with the new tag in the beginning, with the Waltz, with
Yeah.
Walt's projection on there, and the new rides, and you know, they upped the fireworks and seeing Tinkerbell fly, and it's just I love the show. So it was really nice just to sit there and next to you, Dole Whip, just ending like a really perfect night.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do hope that they add some elements from Enchantment into Happily Ever After. Because obviously they're gonna update Happily Ever After. I just don't know exactly what they're gonna do. But yeah, I mean it was a good night. You know, and yeah,
And I think we wound up doing Splash afterwards.
yeah, we did Splash after.
That was kind of our end cap, and then we wound up taking some really awesome pictures, kind of over by Sleepy Hollow, on the back side of the the side of the castle.
Yeah, because they had Cinderella's glass slipper out
Yep.
for pictures. So we got to do that.
So that was really fun, and we always end the night trying to take pictures up by the castle. So that was, although it was really hot during the day, and we did make the conscious effort to go back and just rest a little bit. It was a hot day, but it was a fun day.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and then going into the next day, we did Epcot.
Yep, Epcot was on Sunday, and we got Genie Plus, which you really don't need. I don't know, too much in Epcot. But we again weren't really there exactly for rope drop.
But we were rope drop adjacent. We were like kind of in the time frame where we were able to still utilize.
Yeah, because we still did get so we did get onto Remy's
right away in the morning.
Right away in the morning, and then we had Lightning Lane for Frozen.
Yep.
So I think one of those two, that or if you're a big Test Track fan, because I know that line can get really long and stay long throughout the day, but yeah, pretty much Remy's or Frozen is a good way to go in the morning for rope drop. But because we go the Skyliner route, where we get let in,
you're right in between France and UK, and it just makes sense to rope drop Remy's right there.
Yeah, because Remy's is right there. So yeah, I think we waited, I don't know, like 15, maybe 20 minutes that morning.
Maybe it wasn't long at all, and like I was kind of worried because like when we were getting in through the turnstiles, or the touch points, you could see the people getting let in over by Remy's,
and it was pretty long,
and it was really long. But the line kept moving and grooving, and we weren't in there. I think 20 minutes maybe, and it was a good way to start the morning.
Yeah, it was.
Worked our way. Is that the day that we got Kringla for breakfast?
Yep, we got Kringla for breakfast because I think we had because we had gotten our virtual queue like right away in the morning for Guardians,
and then we purchased it as well.
So I think we had to go, like, I think we did Remy's and then Guardians, and then we came back for Kringla.
That sounds right.
If I remember correctly. I remember we had to do a little bit of crisscrossing in the morning, but only because our virtual queue was so early, because I think we were like group 4 or something.
We were group 4, and that was the day that they had the last Wine and Dine run, because we got caught in Wine and Dine.
Yep.
So we were going through when we were leaving Remy's. Yeah, we went through UK and Canada to get back, and then we kind of had to take like a weird way around like the Odyssey building.
Yeah,
to get over, because they had the Wine and Dine marathon runners going through that kind of like central walkway between Spaceship Earth and World Showcase Lagoon. So
Yep.
we made it in time.
Oh,
And
yeah. We had plenty of time for our virtual queue for Guardians, and that was our first time on it.
It was absolutely
so
incredible.
good.
I loved it so much. It is hands down my favorite ride
Yeah,
in Disney.
definitely a new favorite ride in Disney. Like, it's just so different from anything that they have in the parks right
Mhm.
now. Like, you get that reverse launch, and then the way that the vehicles like can move you around, but it's still a roller coaster is just crazy.
Yeah, and the ride system, like, it's so smooth.
Oh, it's
like,
so
it is so
smooth.
nice, and it accommodated me just fine, which I was kind of worried about, like, initially once I saw when they first announced, like, what it was, and then, like, seeing, like, people, like, my size get on it and not having any issue with
Oh,
it.
yeah, it's so roomy.
It's so roomy in there, like, it's right down to my stomach, but, like, I didn't feel, like, at all
like
on it.
uncomfortable.
And just the whole ride system itself, it was smooth like butter. The Just experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah.
We got Conga.
Conga was the
or
first
was the
one.
first song that we got. That's super fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really on, like, I wanted that song, like I really wanted September.
Yeah.
But like I was okay with Conga, and then after like experiencing it, I was like, yeah, this is a good song for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's so fun, and I love that area. It was so cool to get pictures taken over there. It looked really good in the morning and at night. There's a really awesome photo pass area over there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say enough about that ride. I love that ride.
Yeah, it's so good. And I really wish we would have gotten the holiday music, but
Yeah.
that doesn't start until
I think later or
Mm.
next week sometime.
Yeah. So, well, by the time we're recording this, I
Yeah.
think it's probably going to be already out. But we didn't get it. But that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. And I think overall we just had like a really good Epcot day because I think we just did like some.
Yeah, it was weird. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in like World Showcase, which is kind of
Yeah.
our bread and butter, what we like for that. But we did, we did a little bit of shopping. We did Club Cool.
Yep.
We did.
We got on. We did Soarin', Living with
Mhm.
the Land. We did Figment. We got to meet Mickey. Right over
Is that
there.
the day we got to meet Winnie the Pooh as well?
Oh yeah, I think
That was a really fun experience.
that was really fun.
Because Winnie the Pooh, like right now, is kind of like still
It's
like
a
socially
character
distant. It's a
sighting.
sighting, yeah. So like he's out in like on the lawn with a net, and like he came over and like he was hugging me, and
Yep.
like he was like actually like touching like
Yeah.
And like I wasn't expecting that, and it was just so fun. We had like this fun little conversation about like where his honey is, and
Yep.
the guest attendant or the character attendant was stealing it from Pooh, and
Yeah.
it was so fun. And like I got like some of the cutest pictures there, and it was like that to me that is what makes like a Disney trip for me special, is like those character interactions.
Yeah.
It's weird. We just watched the Mammoth Club video this morning about like being like a Disney adult and like being kind of like that's something that's cringe.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't care. Like that's my favorite part of the parks, like meeting characters. Like I would be more than happy to spend my day going around the parks and meeting characters, over riding some of the rides there.
Yeah.
But that was a really unique experience. And that's not the last time we saw Pooh Bear.
Oh no. Yeah, because we did have another
experience.
Yeah.
I guess.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think what else we did that day. But yeah, we spent most of the time like in the front half of the park.
Yep, and that's the night that we got a really good dinner. We had the mac and cheese, a couple mac and cheeses, and the fry flights.
Oh yeah.
And the corned beef from Flavors from Fire. We did a lot of the food and wine for dinner that night, and everything was just it tasted great.
So good.
That fry flight is a 10 out of 10, hands down. But yeah, it was a really good night, and the ending of that day wasn't the greatest. We kind of cut it pretty close
for getting a spot for Harmonia. So we definitely, because we were up taking pictures of Spaceship Earth and like, experiencing that. And then we started leaving there probably a little later than we should have. But yeah, so we didn't get the best spot for Harmonious.
And I think we were kind of in like the Spain area. I don't remember where we were at.
Yeah.
I just remember like you were a little bit further back.
Yeah.
So I know like I felt bad because it was like probably difficult for you to see it a little bit. And like obviously I don't have that issue since I'm taller than most of the people that are around me. But I know that was kind of like not a great way to catch Harmonious. And we had some issues with like, were we going to go to Germany to get something sweet for a mobile order, or were we going to get something from like one of the food booths because it was closer to us? And, you know, we just didn't give ourselves enough time in Disney. And that's, I guess, maybe a big takeaway we want you to have is just like, give yourself enough time to do whatever you need to do to allow you to do whatever you want to do.
Right. Especially like for the fireworks show. It's like, I don't know. And I think just with the way Harmonious is set up, because depending at the angle that you're looking at the barges, you're not going to be able to see like, into like the big circle.
Yeah, the middle barge.
Yeah. So I think like with that one, you probably want to do maybe a little bit earlier than what you may want to. Because I'm definitely like, we're definitely not a fan of like, oh, let's, wait in a spot for like at least an hour for a fireworks spot. Like that's not really like something that we like to do, but
yeah.
But anyways, I mean, it's still like, it was fine. We still got to watch it, and and thankfully it wasn't the last time that we got to see it.
Right.
So it turned out fine. But yeah, that was our Epcot day.
And that's the day that it kind of seemed like you started to get a little bit of a bug.
Yeah,
too.
So like Sunday night into Monday morning, I like my throat started hurting, and it wasn't like going away. So then I'm like, I'm getting sick. I know I'm getting sick. And yeah, so from like Sunday night on, I was sick the rest of our trip. So
yeah, not fun. And
then we were getting the news about, well, at first it was Tropical Storm Nicole coming in.
I was monitoring it pretty closely throughout the beginning of our trip. A rainy day in Disney is not better than any day anywhere else.
I don't think that's a true statement.
No.
But
and so we were watching it pretty closely, and the path of it, and it turned into a hurricane. By the time it hit us, it probably was down to a tropical storm.
Yeah, but it did get upgraded to a Hurricane 1 or Category 1.
Category 1. So it was quite the experience, which we'll get to in a couple days here once we get down to that point. But with tropical storm and hurricane looming, and then you're not feeling well, it was hard to try to maximize this trip from here on out, which if things don't sound as cheery for these next couple days, that's why.
Yeah. So Monday we still had, I feel like, a decent day in Animal Kingdom. Again, it was hot.
Yeah,
like I just
hot.
wasn't expecting it to be hot. It goes from hot to getting sick to me getting sick, and then it like was just raining kind of off and on the rest of the trip.
Monday we kind of stayed clear of some of the rain. I feel like that was
because I don't think we brought ponchos, because I remember we talked about possibly doing Cali River Rapids, and I'm like, well, I didn't bring my poncho, so I'm not going on it.
Yeah, so we wound up doing quite a bit that day. We got to do the safari, which was fun. We had saw the bird show up in front of the park, not the feathered friends in the back. Menagerie, but like the winged encounters. Up at the front, and that was cool. We've never experienced that before, and like actually having like the macaws and the birds kind of fly over you was really fun. Jay got to experience, and throughout this trip, he got to experience the statues throughout the parks for the 50th. I think that morning we were gonna go to Dinosaur.
Yeah, we were gonna go to Dinosaur, but it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready to go in the morning, so that it was closed. So we went over to Everest. We rode that a couple times because it was literally just a walk on.
Yeah.
And then we made our way over to Dinosaur. Pretty much walked on that. Like I don't think we waited like at all. And then we had our Tusker House.
Yes, as we had
Um,
Tusker House for breakfast that morning.
that morning. That was our first time doing that. That was super fun. Also, the food there is delicious. Like, I love that they have like, I don't know, like different kinds of like food and cuisine there. Like,
Yeah,
it's
they kind of really dug into, because it's in the middle of the Africa
yeah,
kind of land there, and there are, you know, your Mickey waffles, your Nala waffles, your Simba waffles, you know, kind of like that you know, generic bacon,
yeah.
ham, eggs type thing. But then there were like some really unique dishes there, and it's an all buffet style, and they, you know, the characters will come around to you. All the food was really good.
Yeah, it was super good. Like, I literally tried some of everything that was different. Like, I had like, I think the only thing that I had was like the quote unquote like normal breakfast. I think I did end up getting a waffle. But yeah, everything was just all different because I'm like, well, this is like the only time I'm going to be able to eat this food. So I want to try everything. And it was all good. Like, I don't think I had anything bad on my plate. But
and then, you know, they would constantly bring you over jungle juice, which is like just, it's pog juice.
yeah.
So that was really good. And then the characters came over. That was a really fun interaction because it's just characters that you see, but they're not like, they're like in their safari outfits.
Yep.
I wish there would have been like a little bit more consistency with how often they came, because I think like Mickey came over twice before we even saw Donald.
Yeah, Donald, we waited a long time, like, and he was the last one, and that was like the first and only time that he came to our table was like when we had been there like already for like almost an hour, I think.
And like
something.
Donald was the one like I was like most excited to see. And it's something I forgot to mention on Sunday when we were in Epcot, is that I got to meet Donald. We all got to meet Donald, but like we got to meet Donald in his serape and sombrero by the Mexico Pavilion, and that was like something like I knew I needed to do. I was so excited that he came back for that, and that was right around breakfast time. And I've learned from our trips to Disney, like, I'm just a very big Donald Duck fan.
Yeah.
More than I thought that I was going to be. So getting to meet Donald on Sunday in the Mexico Pavilion and then meeting him in a safari outfit, that was super cute. We met Chip and Dale as well. Later that day.
Yeah, because we did get to see them in their dinosaur.
The Chipmunkosaurus. And then we got to meet Mickey and Minnie that day. And then we saw a couple sightings of Kevin walking around as well. So it was a really good day for characters, I feel.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the breakfast at Tusker House was really good. I definitely recommend. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else we did that day. Anything
we did like kind of just like the normal fare.
Yeah,
like we did like the safari was fun. Jay was kind of really hoping to do Flight of Passage, which I guess we didn't realize like he wanted to do it that bad. So like we had been kind of fiddle faddling on the Genie Plus app.
Yeah, to get the individual lightning lane, because at the time it said that they were all out, but it kept popping up. So, and we were able to get him one. So he was able to ride that. But yeah, and we had Satuli Canteen for dinner,
which is we always have to do that.
Super good. I love the bowls and the cheeseburger pods there. And yeah, we got to experience Pandora at night. Again,
that was it's really just a visually beautiful place to be at night.
Yeah. Yep. And then the Tree of Life, like their different like lighting packages, because like I don't know how many different like
they cycle through
a few of them, so we had to do that. And yeah, I don't know, it was a good day.
Other than it being hot, and you know, for the most part it was a pretty decent day there.
So yeah, and then the next day was Tuesday, and that was our Magic Kingdom Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Yes.
So
this is, I don't want to say that the trip like started to go downhill at any point or was bad, but like this is kind of where the trip started to go downhill and turn bad a little bit.
Yeah, so the morning started off great, I guess. Well, as great as it can be for somebody that's getting sick. But yeah, so we we slept in a little bit.
Which was much needed at this point.
Yeah, and we did the monorail loop. So we went to Contemporary, we stopped off there, looked at the shops, and yeah, they didn't really have anything Christmas because
Not
they're
really. They were working on their gingerbread
yeah, but house
whatever they
yeah.
consider it there. But it was, I mean, it was cool to be in contemporary because we've only ever like really just like ridden through it in the past. So getting off there and we got to like kind of look in their shops, and you got that really yummy caramel bar,
Yep.
the caramel butter bar or whatever it was. And you know, just seeing like the Mary Blair mural on the wall there. It was, you know, we kind of just a little bit of, you know, searching around and looking around, and it was all in all, it was, you know, it was fine. You know, we weren't there too long.
Yeah, we weren't there too long, and then I think the next stop is the Poly.
Yes.
The Poly and then the Grand Floridian?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Yeah, and then we stopped at the Poly. Again, just kind of looked around at the shops. And
make sure to get some snacks there.
Yeah, because we did get some cupcakes there. There was a PhotoPass photographer as you were coming off the monorail.
Yeah, that was unusual, I felt.
Yeah, I don't know like how often. I know the last time we were there, there was nobody there, but yeah, he was there. We got our picture taken. Yeah, just kind of looked around and went back on and stopped at the Grand Floridian, and the gingerbread house was done, but of course the shop didn't open till the next day.
Of course,
because that's how it just rolls. But it was nice to see it all done, and we got some really nice pictures, and
they have their own unique PhotoPass place in the Grand Flow as well.
Oh yeah, because again they had the glass slipper there, so we got.
And this was actually like on like an actual like pillow. The one that we had gotten the night of back on Saturday night, our first night in Magic Kingdom, was it was more of like fiberglass that was molded as a pillow to look like a pillow.
Oh, okay, because you got to hold it. I didn't get to. Yeah,
it was like a fiberglass or like plastic.
Okay.
Kind of mold of a pillow with the glass slipper on it, but like this one was actually like
it was a pillow
with like a light up glass slipper on it. And you got some really, really nice pictures there, and then I came in and got some pictures with you. So that was really, really nice. And you know, the Grand Floridian is just a really, you know, beautiful resort, you know, just to kind of walk around and be at anyway. So it's kind of nice just to, you know, start the morning off pretty chill, just go loop around the monorail a little bit and take in some of the resorts, get some merchandise from them.
Yep. Yeah, because we bought our Christmas pin, and yeah, I don't know, it was a really nice morning, like leading up into the afternoon, and then yeah, after that we were back at Magic Kingdom, and then we decided that we were gonna go back to the hotel, just kind of freshen up, change into our Christmas party stuff. Jay stayed at Magic Kingdom.
Yep, he stayed there and did some stuff while we went back to the hotel.
We kind of.
I think you took a little nap.
Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of freshened up and then came back, and
right as we were walking back, and this was something that I really wanted to do on our trip, and we were kind of worried whether or not we were going to be able to make it in time. We got to catch the Festival of Fantasy Parade.
Yep.
Which is something that we've never like got to like experience. We've kind of seen it from like off in the distance, or like we were kind of like going somewhere else and just noticed like, oh, there goes the parade floats. But we were right by like right underneath the train station in Magic Kingdom, or you know, in the front of the Main Street, and then they all just came right by us, and we had just perfect seats for this show, and I'm really glad we got to see it because it's such a really good, it's such a beautiful parade. And I remember you had like a cool like stranger interaction.
Oh yeah, I think this was on Saturday, wasn't it?
Was it on Saturday?
I think it was Saturday. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I was able to like sneak up, and I kneeled right in front, and there were because there were kids and stuff, so I just stayed kneeling, and that was fine. But right next to me was a little girl, and when the Seven Dwarves were coming, I forget which one it was that came up to the little girl and like was like holding her hand or something, but he was like interacting with her, and her mom was behind her, and I think she was taking pictures or video. I'm not sure what she was doing, but I was literally right next to this little girl, so I'm like next to her just like taking pictures of her because I was right there.
Yeah, creep.
I know, like I felt kind of creepy, and like the rest of the parade goes and it's over with. And the family, like, is still next to me, and I asked the mom, I'm like, "Did you get, like, picture?" Because I didn't know, like, who was all, like, in their party, if, like, somebody, like, maybe on the other side had gotten some. And, you know, and I showed her what I had on my phone, and she's like, "No, not that good." And I'm like, "Well, what's your number? I'll text him to you." So, like, I sent her the few pictures that I had, and, yeah, so that was really cool, like,
Yeah. And now that you say that, yeah, I think that was that Saturday
I
when
think
they
it was
came
that
back.
Saturday that we came back, but either way, it doesn't, like, we still got to catch the
Yeah, and
Festival
I
of
was very
Fantasy.
excited that we got to catch that one because
Yeah.
that was on like I said, it was on like my to-do list of stuff
Yep.
I really wanted to accomplish on this trip. Going into the Christmas party, we were changed, or we got dressed for. We got some pictures right away, and with the Christmas party, you can get into the park at 4 o'clock. The park doesn't officially start, or the party doesn't officially start until 7, and then all the other guests need to be out by 6, or they say they start filtering them out by 4, so they're kind of out of there by 6. We were in Tomorrowland and got our bracelets, our wristbands right away to say that we were in there. Got our park map, and then they gave out these really cool enamel ornaments.
Yeah, which I think they're probably just doing it because it's the only Christmas party for the during the 50th celebration.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everyone got an ornament, and it's really pretty and, like, I don't know, really nice. Like, it's not like a cheap plastic.
I was expecting just to get like your first free cookie, because that's what they, everyone had said in the past. Like, you get your wristband and they give you your cookie and kind of go on your way. But no, it was this really nice ornament. We have it proudly on our tree, with the 50th on there, and then that's when the rain started.
Yep.
It was, let's say, quite the experience with the rain.
Yeah, for sure.
So we tried really hard to kind of finagle our way around the rain throughout the night. It'd be periods where it was just kind of a pretty decent rain, then stop, then it was mist, and then stop, and then downpour, and kind of went back and forth throughout the night. So it was just trying to figure out how do we navigate the park and what we all need to do, but try to stay out of the rain as much as possible.
Right, because there are, especially, like, I think going through, like, Fantasyland at one point, there was just not a lot of cover. Like, you had to, like, walk a decent way before you could, like,
find anything.
But yeah, and it just, and none of the party stuff started until 7. So we were there and we are just kind of like, well, we could get some stuff done, but none of the party stuff had started. So we did get, like, some treats and stuff. And we tried to navigate it, like, the best we could, with the rain. But it's definitely hard.
We're not gonna lie, it was not fun.
It definitely wasn't the funnest. But yes, but we did, like, one of the first things I think we did was we got in line for Moana, just because, like, they had her there, and she's, like, not a character that you get to meet, like.
Yeah, and that was, again, something like, I like the characters, but, if you get the opportunity to see a rare character, that's, you got to take your chances. We got to meet 2 sets of, 2 rare characters, 3 rare characters, I guess, during the party tonight. And so Moana was the first one. We wound up waiting, like, what, a half hour or something?
I was going to say, I think it was like 40 minutes.
40 minutes. And so this is, I guess, something that was kind of frustrating, because when you're there, and they make, a lot of people, even Disney Parks blog and the Parks panel says, like, in the beginning part of the trip, or of your, experience, they're like, go out and do, like, the characters interactions, or get, like, the treats portion of it, because a lot of the parents with kids they're going to want to try doing the first parade and leave by the fireworks.
Yep.
So then after that, like, the park kind of dies down, so that way you can, like, do, like, some of that stuff afterwards. So I'm just kind of like, well, with the rain, really put
didn't really allow
a wrench
us
in that. So, like, as much as you thought that, like, this would be a good time to meet a character on a non-rainy park, on a party night, the rain just, threw a wrench in the type, because at that point it's in the Enchanted Tiki Room, and it's kind of in that queue to get into the Tiki Room.
Yeah, so it's
all covered. So I think a lot of people are like, well, if we're here, we might as well do it, because it pays to not be out in the rain. I mean, at that point, we already did a couple things because I think we did Mansion and Pirates.
Yeah, and that was technically, I think, before the party had started.
Yeah, because
So
we were
had,
trying to make our way back to start to do some things.
Yeah.
So we did that. And, you know, meeting Moana was fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, I really enjoyed that. And, like, it's kind of something cool to be like, oh, I met this rare character that not a whole lot of people get to, like, meet in the parks. I don't know if 40 minutes was worth it, but it was the best use of our time to make it covered at that point.
Yeah.
Or to keep us, you know, protected from the rain. After that, I think we made our way back over to Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I think we started doing like the cookie stroll. Like we were doing like the cookie stroll. We did, you know, so we hit up quite a few of those. We did do Space because they have their overlay.
And that was super fun.
I don't remember if we did that before or after the first parade, because the first parade was delayed because of the rain.
Yep.
So I don't remember exactly what time that stepped off, but we did watch it. We did find a spot, and it was a pretty decent spot. Like,
yeah, I feel we got a really good spot, and I kind of felt initially like, was this something like Harmonious where like you're kind of back behind someone where you couldn't see, but I feel like you got a pretty decent look on it.
It was pretty decent for me. But yeah, so we did get to watch the first parade. We did get to do Space with the overlay. I know we hit up all the cookie spots,
and some of them multiple times.
Yes,
because some of those cookies were
really good.
Chef's kiss.
But yeah, as far as other characters, I don't think we didn't wait in any more lines for characters.
We did for Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Oh, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
And that was more because it was raining and there was coverage there. I don't remember where Jay was.
Jay was going back to his.
Oh, he was going to his locker.
I think he was going to his locker.
Yeah. Because he had gotten a popcorn tin.
Yep.
The red kind of musical box carousel one that came out. I don't think it's a party exclusive, but it was first debuted at the party.
That was one that you think.
So he got that, and that was even before we saw Moana, but he went back because he's like, I don't want to carry this around all night. So while we were waiting, the rain kind of picked up a little bit, so we were kind of hiding underneath the Cheshire Cafe over where Tomorrowland and Fantasyland meet, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum were just meeting over there. So we're like, well, we're just gonna go meet them.
Yeah, and there was only just a couple people ahead of us, so we got to meet them, and then maybe that's when we did Space, because he didn't want to bring the popcorn bucket on Space Mountain.
Maybe.
And then I think
we did Space after that.
But yeah, and I'm trying to think.
We kind of looped our way back around and did some more cookies, and then we also got to meet Belle.
Oh, yeah, we did get to meet Belle.
Which was fun because we've never met Belle and we've never been in like her cottage her cottage
also
before.
She had no line when we went.
Yeah, like we were just in there right away, and I think it's just because like I don't think people realized like it's back there because it wasn't really like lit up, and it was
still pretty dark back there. But then the other bummer was like she was just in her normal blue dress, like she wasn't even in her winter gear, which I was disappointed by. I'm like, it's the Christmas party, like why wouldn't she be dressed up like that?
Right. And for how much I know that you love the Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas movie or special, like that would have been really, really cool, especially like for you to see Belle in her Christmas gown. She was in the Christmas gown in the parade, but just not for the meet and greet, which I don't understand that really at all.
Yeah. So we did that. We did get a couple photo pass pictures, like some of the party ones.
There were some cool ones, and then there was like one where they have like this like light up bar that they kind of like dance behind you with, and it kind of has like a really cool effect because it's like a long effect, like an 8-second delay on it.
Yep.
And I wish we would have been able to see more characters. It just wound up not really being a good night because of the rain. Like we had walked through New Fantasyland because I wanted to see where like Ariel and Eric were, and they had a really long line. We didn't even bother to go back to Storybook Circus because we figured the line for Ariel and Eric were so long it was probably going to be the same back there. I guess that was kind of like one of the big bummers that I'm like, I would wish we would have saw more characters, but it was just with the rain, like I think everyone just tried to take the best opportunities they could to
Well,
get out of the weather.
yeah, I guess, but then at the same time, like I think even without rain, like the lines for characters are just long. So you either have to like spend like most of your party time waiting in those lines, or you go around and, you know, do like the cookie stroll and try to get on like some of the ride overlays and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So you kind of have to like prioritize like what's most important to you, like, and if meeting characters is important, then like waiting in those lines is what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I think you definitely need to go at least twice to any of the parties to try to get everything done.
And I feel like we did get quite a bit out of this party for how A, rainy it was, and B, miserable we were.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we did the cookie stroll a couple times. We went through a couple of the places and got
Yeah.
multiple cookies. They were serving eggnog and cider, and hot cocoa was the majority. They were serving hot cocoa for most of them. The cookies were they were prepackaged, but they were really really
Yeah,
good
I
cookies.
thought they were pretty good cookies.
I think the gingerbread ones really won them for me.
Yeah.
But we saw that, and then we wound up being able to see the Minnie's Christmas time fireworks.
Yep.
And that really did something to me.
Yeah, like they're good. I mean, obviously they're Disney fireworks, but then there's towards the end there's the Olaf's
When We're Together,
yeah,
from
When We're
Olaf's
Together.
Frozen Adventure, and
that really hit us in the feels.
yeah,
So
that one. I mean, I when that came on, like, 'cause I didn't know that
yeah,
played at all.
I didn't know anything.
And like
about
we looked
that
at
show.
one another and we were already like crying.
Yeah.
Right at the first couple notes here, and that's something like every time I hear that song, like I think of like our oldest dog Maya, our little nugget. So like I'm having a miserable night and it's raining and I'm trying to we're trying to make the best out of it, and this song comes on and like all I can do is think about our little Maya girl at home and like just being next to you, and like I hug you really close, and like that was just like probably the best part of the night was just seeing that part of the fireworks show, just because it meant the most to me, and like I'm glad that we got to experience that emotion live, like in the parks.
Yeah, that was really good. So yeah, and that was probably like, I don't know.
That's probably one of the last things that we did.
Yeah, because then after that, it was just pretty much, I want to say like nonstop rain. I think it just didn't really let up.
We had Jay wanted to go back and try seeing the Country Bears, because they have like it's not like a physical meet and greet. It's kind of just like a little hoedown over in in Frontierland, and they weren't out. So then we started to make our way back, and there was one dish from I think the Friar's Nook that I wanted. It was like the Tinkerbell like cream puff. So like we were kind of making our way back there, getting another cookie, and it just started to downpour.
Yep.
Like real bad. And at that point, like, I mean, this was 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, because I was like, when the party was almost over.
And like I was just like, I'm so done with this. I'm so done with this trip. I'm like miserable right now. Like the Friar's Nook was closed. Like the food that I wanted to get there wasn't even an option or available anymore.
Yep.
It was just, we were done.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. We just kind of made our way, I think, out. I don't even know. Like, I just remember being stuck under the Friar's Nook for a little bit because it was raining so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So obviously you can't predict the weather. Like,
yeah. I don't think either day was good for, because we were there on Tuesday and Thursday, and both days that's when they had a Christmas party.
Oh yeah, they had it Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And Tuesday and Thursday were the only 2 days that we were really considering for the Christmas party.
Yeah, because we weren't even considering Friday, even though Friday would have been the best night to go.
Yeah,
because it didn't rain at all.
It didn't rain at all, but we had other plans for Friday, and just we didn't want to end the trip with like a really long late night at the end of the trip, especially with like my back the way it had been on previous trips. So Tuesday was the night that it worked, and we were so excited to be like, we're the first party back after COVID hit. Like, this is it. This is Disney going back. And then it rains.
Yeah.
And I think it did the same thing for the Halloween party too. It rained the first night.
Yeah, the first night it rained too.
If we go back during this time,
I'm definitely not going to the first one.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. So we did make the best of it. I think at the end of the night there was quite a long line for guest relations. I'm sure people asking for like refunds on the tickets and stuff, but they were able to. Both parades went off. The fireworks went off. Like, I mean, you technically could like experience everything. It just.
I think the only thing that really was kind of stopped was the stage show, and I think we wound up hearing that they did some version of a stage show afterwards. My biggest regret on this night was, and I found this out by listening to the Lost Bros podcast. Lex and Cody were exchanging their tickets at the end of the night because they were there as well for a different day. And Lex said she had to go to the bathroom, and she walked across over by where Jack and Sally were meeting. And this is historically a very long line. We're talking like multiple hours long line. And she went there, and there was a 15-minute wait for Jack and Sally. And had I known that, as miserable as I was, I would have waited in that line right at the end of the night, because that was something I really
well, and they I think they left around 9, so that's when she saw it. I don't know like for how long that time was there, but we never even really checked it because I just assumed it was going to be so long, and plus you have to make your way all the way to the front of the park. So
we know for next time, if there's a next time, what to do and how to prioritize it. Hopefully it wouldn't rain the next time if we did this again, but all in all, the Christmas party, I don't feel like it was really worth it at the end of the day. But like you had said, we definitely just attempted to make the best out of what we could with the rain and the weather the way it was.
So yeah, that's wrap on the Christmas party. And then the next day it didn't really get much better because
so the rain was still persistent throughout the day. This was our Epcot day, and this was supposed to be our last Epcot day.
Yeah, it was supposed to be our last Epcot day. This was also the night that the storm was hitting. Was Wednesday night. So the parks were closing early, and since we were in Epcot, they said that they were closing at 7.
Yep, and we had to take. No, we were able to take the Skyliner over.
Yeah, we were able to take the Skyliner over. We got there. We did. I don't even know what we did because we didn't buy Genie Plus because It
didn't pay to do it at that point. It was a late. It was a late night
you
before.
had bought Lightning Lanes.
I did
for Guardians. That's what you had bought, and that was for like 1:00 in the afternoon.
And we amped straight out of there before that.
Yeah, because it was like noon, and we were just like, because the rain was coming.
Yeah, and you went up to I went up to the guest relations CM. He was super, super nice. He understood. He's like, no worries, we'll refund you those Lightning Lanes, not a problem at all.
Yep, so we got those refunded because we're like, well, we don't want to be stuck here
at the way front of the park.
Yeah, I think we were in the back because we had just done like World Showcase, I think, and we had gotten some of the food booths, and we knew the rain was coming, and we're just kind of like, well, do we maybe want to head out because if the rain starts coming and gets too bad, they're going to shut the Skyliner down, and then we're going to have to make our way to the front of the park in the rain, try to catch a bus back to the hotel. So we were just kind of wanting to get back to the hotel before it got really bad. And that's when you had asked the cast member for the refund on the Lightning Lane, because we're like, no, we just want to go back. And he did that. And then I think by noon we were on our way back.
Yeah. So we went back to the hotel room.
Jay stayed in the park for a couple more hours.
Yeah, a little bit. Which was fine with us. If he wanted to stay there, that was fine. And again, you weren't feeling great.
Yeah, I was sick.
So it didn't really pay. But he did some more things there. He met us back at the end of his park day there. At that point, the resort was getting pretty crazy. Just because the parks were closing at 5. There was a hurricane coming through. And then we got to experience kind of like what happens on Disney property when there's a hurricane or a tropical storm.
Yep.
And that was, I guess, something unique. I guess it's nice to know for
Yeah.
future. I don't ever want to have to experience it again.
No, I mean, yeah. So like they were, since the parks were still open, they were encouraging people like, well, make sure you eat at the parks, before you come to the hotel, so that way you're not like crowding like, the
food court
there. But we had come back so early, like we needed to get dinner there.
Mhm.
And it was busy, but I mean, it was still manageable. Like it was better than going down for breakfast the next morning. But yeah, so we got our dinner, kind of hung out in the food court for a little bit. Jay bought the Game of Life.
Yeah, so I mean, we made the best of that night. He bought that game. We went back to the hotel room, got some showers taken, and we got the game out and we played a Game of Life.
Home Alone was on.
Was on. We had some cookies left over from the Christmas party and some popcorn. We bought some additional snacks down in the food court as well. So just kind of played homebody when we were there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think we've ever spent so much time in the hotel room on any trip. But this one we did. But yeah, so we just kind of made the best of it that night because the storm was coming in, and yeah, and they had already made an announcement that the parks are opening up late. I think most of them are 2. We had our reservation for Hollywood Studios, and that wasn't opening until 2.
So at this point, once we got back, I was trying to figure out the best way that we can still manage to have a good end of our trip, because we knew the end of Wednesday was gonna be kind of a wash. Most of the beginning of Thursday was gonna be a wash. We had the park reservation for Hollywood, but it wasn't opening until 2. Granted, they were staying open later, but it still wasn't like you're not getting a full day in the park.
Yeah.
So then I went down to the concierge and talked to, I think there were Eric and Ethan, I think were the names of the 2 cast members I was talking with down there. And this usually isn't something that they do, but they were very nice and accommodating and finally figured out a way that we could convert. Essentially what we were trying to do is convert our 1-day park ticket on Thursday and 1-day park ticket on Friday to a 1-day park hopper for Friday. So we could start in one park on Friday and then finish in another park. That's not something that they typically do. Typically, if you buy park hoppers, you're buying your park hoppers for the entire trip.
Yep.
When I was explaining the situation to the first cast member, he's like, nope, I totally understand what you're trying to get at. It's just that's not something that we can do. I have to see, if there's any room for it. After kind of going back and forth and talking with a manager who talked to another manager, we did have to pay a little bit more to upgrade all 3 of our tickets to park hoppers, so we could do park hop on Friday.
Yep.
And our assumption after talking with the cast member and the manager there was that our Thursday ticket would have been voided.
Yeah,
which was fine with us
because that's what we had asked for. We just wouldn't go to a park on Thursday, and we'll just park hop for Friday.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, we can go to on Thursday. We can go to Disney Springs at night. That'd be a perfect night to just kind of relax a little bit, do some shopping, get some Gideons, maybe have a nice dinner out somewhere on Thursday night. And we had reservations on Friday night for some restaurants in Disney Springs, but it was just the weather is just changing the course of this trip. We're just going to try to do the best we can. Thursday rolls around and it still says we have tickets in our
and we still had our park reservation for Hollywood,
and the tickets were still for park hopper for Thursday and Friday, because they changed all the tickets. Essentially all the tickets that we had from that first Friday all the way up to now, they were all park hoppers. We just couldn't utilize them for the first part because those days had already passed. So I'm like, well, the ticket says it's valid, and we still have a park reservation for Hollywood Studios. So it was a little bit later, but Jay wound up going to Hollywood Studios first and got in, no problem.
Yeah, because we had gone to Disney Springs.
And then Jay and I, the two of us and Jay kind of split off. He went back to the hotel, dropped some stuff off, and then go to Hollywood. At that point, it was Thursday night, so we were like, well, what do you want to do? Spend a Thursday night in Disney Springs. We contemplated seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
But we did just a little bit more shopping around, had a really yummy dinner at Earl of Sandwich, and then went back to the hotel room. Sammy, again, still wasn't feeling good, so I'm just like, well, maybe I'll go meet Jay in Hollywood and, I'll finish off the night in Hollywood for a little bit with him. And at that point, they had announced that Fantasmic was not showing on Thursday night, so there wasn't really like a huge need for you to want to go back at that point.
No, I was fine, like not going back. Like I had done like pretty much everything I wanted to do in Hollywood. Like I was sick. I'm like, I just want to rest and like not really do much. So like I had taken my shower. I had made some tea. Home Alone 2 was on. I'm like, this is fine with me.
So I get back, or I leave you back at the hotel room. Before I go to Hollywood Studios, I make a little secret excursion, which I'll get to in a minute, and then I finally meet up with Jay back at Hollywood. And at that point, he already did Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run twice. He did Star Tours twice. He had done a bunch of just kind of walking around there, and he was getting hungry. So he wound up eating, and then I got a little Christmas treat from Hollywood Studios. And then all of a sudden we get the announcement that Fantasmic is going to be surprise playing tonight. And so then I message you real quick when you're back at the hotel room, and it's like, hey, Fantasmic is showing tonight. And by this point, I think it's like, I don't know, like 7. And so Sammy did decide to come back to the park with us.
I got dressed, made my way on the Skyliner that was the first time I think riding the Sky. Like we each rode it by ourselves.
Yeah.
You had a fun experience.
Oh my God. It was so windy and it was raining, and I made a little, I was on Instagram on my stories, just kind of like documenting my experience, because in case of like my Skyliner got like blown over and I died or something, like you at least saw my last
your last words.
But no, it was fine. And then you met us at Hollywood. We were actually in line for Mickey and Minnie's, and by the time we got in like the actual like inside queue, it just didn't seem like there was gonna be enough time.
Yeah, we weren't gonna have enough time to wait the rest of the line and make it over for Fantasmic.
So we hopped out of line. I think we might have got a snack or something, and then went over to Fantasmic and watched that. And it was still the same show. They just didn't have the boat come out.
Yep, they didn't have the boat come out. All the characters they came out like on the mountain at the end.
Yep, and that was unique, just to kind of see like what they do when the boat can't operate.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was because like they just couldn't get it dry enough, because there's obviously characters that have to go up there. But no, seeing Fantasmic again was really cool. There was like hardly anyone in the theater. I think it was like maybe half full.
I think they got it filled. I think by the time like when we were over there, it wasn't quite full, but I think they filled it up quite a bit. I mean, it wasn't full, but there was quite a few people in there.
So and there were the cast members on in Hollywood were like, surprise, we're doing Fantasmic. Get on in there, like come on, we're doing it. So that was really, really fun to like make the best out of like this really crummy rainy day.
Yeah.
And it was still misting throughout it, but like seeing Fantasmic again one more time was incredible. And like you had mentioned, like we had both kind of did the Skyliner separately.
Yeah.
Before I met Jay in back in Hollywood, I did a little detour off to the Riviera.
Yes.
And snuck into, I don't want to say like I snuck into the Riviera, but I snuck into the Riviera and purchased you a pair of Loungefly ears.
Yeah.
The Riviera Resort specific ears with their logo on the pin.
Oh, I should have put those out on the desk. I did my new rose gold ones. But yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah. And that was one of those, I was like, well, maybe I'll just save it for Christmas. And I'm like, well, we're having a crummy trip and you're not really feeling well. I feel like you need a little bit of a pick me up. So I gave you that. And as a surprise that night. And it was weird to go there by myself, because I'm like, I'm walking by like the Tangled mural and the Peter Pan mural. I'm like, oh, Skimmy would love being here. And like, we both dream about spending, at least a night in the
Yeah.
Riviera.
That's definitely my dream hotel right
But
now.
yeah, it was really, really nice to kind of just happen to sneak on in there. I followed a family off the Skyliner because I didn't know if like my Magic Band obviously wouldn't work to get into the hotel, and I didn't want to go like walk around all the way to the front. But as I was walking by the murals, a door just happened to magically open up, and I'm like, I'm inside. So that's how our Thursday night ended, and then I feel like we had a pretty good day on Friday.
Yeah.
So then our last day was our park hopper day.
Yep.
And what was Friday? We started off the morning in Animal Kingdom. And again, another very, very hot day in Disney World. And then we ended our night in Epcot.
Yeah. Yeah, we pretty much just did, we did pretty much the same thing. Like we did like Everest and Dinosaur and the safari. Because I think we did do Genie Plus that day.
Yes, we did do Genie Plus just because we were going to be in both parks. It just kind of made sense. And we wanted to like try to maximize our Epcot day. So like we, our time in Epcot at night. So like we got Genie Plus and we think we did like Frozen or something.
Yeah.
Just so we had, something for the afternoon. And then we were able to pick a few things while we were in Animal Kingdom there. I think we did Single Rider for Everest, which worked out pretty nice still. But it was a nice, little quick morning in Animal Kingdom. Again, It was super, super hot.
It was very warm. But the main reason we wanted to do Animal Kingdom that day is because it was the first day for the Merry Menagerie.
Yep. And we purposely picked Friday. Like this was going to be our last day. It's going to be our Animal Kingdom day. We're going to get the Merry Menagerie. It's so cute.
Yeah, we did get it. We got to see the animals. They're just adorable. I love how they do them and like their colors and stuff. They're just so pretty. So I'm really glad we got to see those for the first time. Little disappointed they didn't have any of the plushies out for purchase. I was really hoping to.
And the same thing with the Christmas party. They didn't have any Christmas party exclusive merch at all for that. So like, we came in with a big gift card and we were ready to spend, and we just didn't get that. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there.
Yeah. So we just spent the morning there, and then we went back to the hotel in the afternoon and got on the Skyliner for park hopping. To Epcot for the evening, and
I think we had a very good night in Epcot that night.
Oh, actually, no, we didn't get on the Skyliner because they weren't running.
No, they weren't.
That was the first time we took the bus over.
Yep.
So we had to go through the front of the park of Epcot. That was the first time we got to do that.
That was interesting. It seems like it's really like far off where the buses are.
I don't like that. I like the Skyliner better. But yeah, it was a really good night. We had I think we had like Frozen for a lightning lane. You had purchased individual lightning lane for Guardians again.
You were able to fiddle faddle your way to Remy's.
Yep, we got Remy's.
We wound up doing Spaceship Earth that night, finally, that trip. And it was, it was a good night for, what we were able to do. It was kind of a lot of backtracking.
It did. I think only because we had started at the front of the park. Had we been able to come in on the Skyliner, it wouldn't have been so bad crisscrossing. But
all in all, it was a good night, and we had some really yummy food from Food and Wine to finish off the night.
We got fish and chips.
Yeah, you got your fish and chips, and we made a very conscious effort to make sure that we had a good spot for Harmonious that night.
We had such a good spot.
We were right by, kind of to the off the side of the,
like if you're looking at the American
Pavilion, we were on the left side, towards Italy.
Yeah.
Or Morocco. Well, whatever. Yeah, towards Italy.
Yeah.
But we were right up by a fence, kind of right over by the entrance where Regal Eagle is.
Yeah.
Right up by the fence line. There was a tree kind of in the way, but like it wasn't like, obstructive by any means. I tossed my Magic Band into the bushes and had a really nice cast member come out and have to fish out my Magic Band. And we got a yummy snack, and we just sat there, and we got just a really, really good last view of Harmonious.
Yep. yeah, that was a really good way to end the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were both sick by that point, because I think you had started getting sick
On
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, the day before. I had been sick all week.
Mm-hmm. And even on Thursday, like I think I had tried. We had Ubered you some medicine by that point. But yeah, we weren't really feeling it. Sammy had been feeling it for a while now. But I, especially on Wednesday when I was talking to that concierge person at the hotel, I'm like, I just really want to try making Friday the best it can be.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really worked out to do the park hopping. And,
yeah.
And like, I feel like that just, it ended out this trip on just a really good note.
It
like,
really did.
We were, I think you had posted on your Instagram, like we were just kind of like, skipping down.
Like it was
the World Showcase. We were singing the song. We were we were really like just enjoying the moment. It was like just really vibing, and it was nice to seemingly kind of turn around the trip a little bit right at the end there.
Yeah, it was really nice to end it that way, and it's our favorite thing to do
in our favorite park.
Yeah, so and that's probably the last time that we're ever gonna see it. So it was really nice to end it on such a good note.
Yeah. I guess overall though on this trip, to be honest, it wasn't like the best trip of all time.
No, obviously weather, being sick played a big role, which were two things that were out of our control. But I think we definitely tried to make the best of it, especially with the rain. Like we had our ponchos and, we tried to navigate, I guess, as best as we could. But yeah, overall, I mean, not our most favorite or best trip, but
no, and we not that this was bad, but we were also going with Jay, and he kind of does the parks differently than we do the parks, and what he wants to get out of it and what he enjoys is maybe a little different than how we do the parks or what we get enjoy out of the park. So and that also made it a little bit more difficult just to kind of manage everyone's expectations, and then throw in you being sick, and then throw in the rain. So it was kind of one of those like, make it work as best as you can. But I guess, we get this a lot. Like a lot of people ask us, like, what we recommend for Disney, or like what advice that we would give to people going to Disney. And I think our biggest, piece of advice is just make sure everyone's like wants and expectations of this trip.
Right. Like it's just with Disney, I mean, unless you've gone like hundreds of times, like you can't do it all in one trip. Like we were there for a full week. Even if it wasn't rain, like it's still really, really hard to do everything. Because, it was hot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you can get maybe like some decent weather, maybe you're there for a couple weeks, you can probably do a good chunk of stuff. But I mean, even just being there a week, you can't do everything, and it's not healthy or good to do everything or like try to do everything. So, and I think that's something that we learned after our first trip. So like when we go, like we're not looking to like ride every single ride. Like, we're not, looking to do that, because we've found that there's definitely a lot more to love about Disney than just riding the attractions.
Right.
And there's just some attractions that I just don't really care if we get on or not. Like if we do, great, but if not, I'm not going to be upset about it. Because I'm going to like prioritize the ones that I do want to get on. And I think that's probably one of the most important things, like with planning your trip, is to like manage everyone's expectations, try to get that wish list, like what do you want to do in each park, and keep it on the smaller side, so that way if you don't get to something,
you're not upset if you didn't get to
like
it.
But if that something isn't going to get done and that's going to break somebody's trip, then you need to prioritize that. But yeah, like going in with the expectation to ride every single ride, I think is just not a good way to do the parks.
Yeah. And like obviously there's people that want to like maximize their time in the parks. They want to maximize their dollar. Disney is very expensive. Even from us coming back, 12 days ago, they've already increased prices.
Mhm.
They've announced that, their surge pricing now. Like, it's very expensive. And, for a trip that we planned for, like 10, 11 months or something like that we
Yeah.
saved for, that we planned for, that we budgeted for, and then to have a trip where, maybe it just didn't hit all the marks for us, or, we just felt a little disappointed by times. Like, again, this wasn't our favorite trip by any means. And like you
Yeah.
mentioned, a lot of it is out of our control, but, you know, control what you can and just make sure that everyone's on the same page, and just, understand that not everyone does Disney the same way.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with
Oh, yeah,
other
for
people
sure. Like,
enjoying the parks differently than you enjoy the parks. But, you know, if you're going with, multiple people, and those ideals or those, kind of mindsets don't really mesh well, that's where you kind of need to like come up with some sort of game plan to accommodate everybody.
yeah.
And I guess that's the biggest takeaway that we want to convey here, just because maybe we didn't do that the greatest this trip, or, we try to take account into that. And again, the rain didn't help. You
Yeah, I
getting
think
sick
just me
didn't
being
help.
sick, like, because I think that really just wore me out so much faster. Like, I was just like, yeah, like, I definitely needed more breaks. I definitely couldn't, like, do, like, the rope drop to fireworks kind of schedule. Like, I needed more rest, than I probably could have gotten away with had I been, like, not sick.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, but overall, like, I mean, we still had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
There was still a lot of fun things to do, a lot of new things to do. Um, yeah, I don't know, and there's still like some kind of memorable, yeah, parts of the trip.
Yeah,
So,
like there were like the highs were very high,
yeah,
and it's just unfortunately the lows were also very low.
yeah.
So there was a lot of up and down kind of emotions on here. Um, I feel like there was some disappointment on my end here, because when we went last year, we were gone like around Halloween to like the first couple days in November. We were down there, and like the weather was nice, and we
Mhm.
just were just on the precipice of the holiday stuff.
Yeah.
We got some of the holiday decorations, but like a lot of like the festivities we just missed out on, and we purposely had booked this trip out a week later to get those.
Yeah, to get like the holiday stuff, but kind of beat the holiday crowds, because any later you go, like, it's just going to get busier and busier with Thanksgiving coming up and stuff. So we thought that we would hit it at like the perfect time where we would like just get everything. But again, I feel like we like just missed, or like we barely got like the Merry Menagerie. We barely got that. That
Hmm.
was on our last day. Like in Disney Springs, like the Christmas trees there, those
And
were all up and decorated last year when we went.
yep,
They didn't go get up and decorated until after we had come home.
yep.
So, and
Or
I don't know if that was like from the hurricane or what the case was with that, but
So that was
um,
upsetting. Like, we didn't get that. Like, we kind of had we were hopeful that maybe we would get the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas
yeah.
music, which we didn't get, which was fine because we got the regular music. The Christmas tree stroll, like you said, the Frozen Ever After sing along in Hollywood Studios, where they have Olaf come out and they do the songs from Frozen Ever After. That didn't happen.
Mhm.
So it was just kind of, all those things that like we were like, yeah, we're gonna get them. This is gonna be the perfect like Christmas trip, like right before Christmas, and then just not getting them. It was
Yeah.
a little disappointing or upsetting that you know, we did all this planning thinking that it was gonna happen, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And then obviously just the big Christmas thing that we wanted to experience was that Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party, and then
Yeah,
it
and
just kind of
unfortunately
got
with the
rained out.
weather. Yeah.
But
So,
again, there were a lot of high highs, like getting to see Enchantment one last time, seeing Harmonious that last night was fantastic. Fantasmic in general, riding Guardians of the
yeah.
Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind 3 times. Like, we had it in mind that we were gonna do 4, so at least to get it 3 times was awesome. So like there was a lot of fun stuff to do in this trip, and there was a lot of like really memorable moments to take
Yeah.
away. It's just in general, in whole, with the storm and us just not feeling well, and just trying to catch up with everybody's, schedule. It didn't really work out the greatest
Yeah.
in the end. And, unfortunately that just made it for a maybe not as memorable trip as past ones.
Yeah, for sure. Also, we saw throw up 3 times on this trip.
Oh, yes.
What was up with that? Like, the first one was at the Christmas party. Like, the kid, I don't know, he must have drank like some red drink because he was just like right before the fireworks were gonna go off, he was just projectile vomiting like on the hub.
I felt so bad for him.
I felt bad for him too.
And it just kind of happened that way. And then, we saw it on the Skyliner.
Avoid the noodles on the floor.
Avoid the noodles on the floor.
And then I don't know where we were walking, if that was, I don't know, but it was in a park and we were passing, and again, a cast member was trying to like direct traffic about like because somebody had thrown up, and I'm just like, I had never seen, I'm sure they deal with that multiple times, like a day in the parks, but just personally, like I hadn't seen it, so that was so weird.
Yeah.
But
not that we're trying to like, blame these people for throwing up. Like,
it's just one
happens,
of those things,
but it's just
where
kind of
I'm
weird
just
thing
like,
that it happened
3 times, and then avoid the noodles on the floor will for always stick as just something that we say now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just a weird trip, but it's still Disney. I don't know. It was still a Disney trip, and
we're very fortunate that we've gotten this opportunity. It's something that does come with a lot of privilege that not a lot of people can do. So, we understand that. Like, I don't want to seem like we're complaining about going to Disney.
I know. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but
you do pay all this money. You do all this research and planning and preparation for it. And if it just doesn't really go your way in the end, like, there is going to be some level of, upsetness.
Yeah. I guess the good thing though is like I didn't have the Disney blues coming home.
Yeah,
which those usually hit really, really hard.
Yeah, that was something like we haven't even talked about, like wanting to plan another trip right now. Like, it's not even on our radar. Like, I know that we had talked maybe about like Disneyland, but not until like late next year. So, and planning another trip right now is not something that's on my radar at all, remotely. Which is very weird.
It is. It's weird. I guess ask us like maybe after the holidays are over and we're like January and we're just like, yeah, we could use a Florida trip right now.
Right. And by all means, this isn't going to be our last Disney trip. We will be back in Disney again.
Yeah, for sure. Disney's our happy place.
It just wasn't quite as happy this past trip, but in the end, we still enjoyed it. It was, every trip is going to be different. It's going to fall somewhere on the spectrum. This one just happened to fall a little bit short on some cases, but all in all, it's still Disney. We still got to go and experience it, and it's a lot better than being here in Green Bay at work. So,
oh gosh, yeah. Plus when we come home, so we left, it was like 70 degrees here. It was so nice. Like, we come home, it's like, I think it was like 33, 34 degrees when we came back home.
Yeah. Definitely switching up the mindset for the upcoming holidays.
Yeah.
Speaking of the holidays, we do have a really fun slate of December podcasts for you. We are going to be doing some fun drafting type of a game with some of our favorite holiday movies. We did tease this back last month, but we have our Taylor Swift mashup episode coming up here. I'm going to announce it. Like, this is going to be our Disney Princess episode 2. So I'm very excited that we taking two things that we really, really enjoy and love and kind of mashing them up in one.
Yeah. But yeah, we have all of our episodes planned out for the end of the year. A lot of them are like holiday themed, which we're really excited about. We love Christmas here. So I think, and I think that kind of helped, like coming home, like, we're just going to go right into the holiday season, which we love and keeps us really busy. So, so we're really excited to share all of that with you guys. Cause we do lots of baking, candy making, I don't know, maybe some fun adventures around town.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But yeah, so we're just excited for what we have coming up. And
I'm going to keep everyone in the loop here on the podcast. And We'll obviously be posting on our personal channels, but you can find us on the Team Unicorn Instagram page at Team Unicorn Podcast. Drop a comment on there or down in the, if you're watching on YouTube, you can drop it in the comments down below.
I guess if you have any questions about the trip, or if you have a trip coming up and you have a question that maybe we can answer, I'd be happy to try to help you out.
We're constantly giving advice to our friends or family
we have a couple
members,
people messaging us just with questions here and there, and so we're happy to help out anybody. Anything that we learn from, we're happy to share with everybody. I think that's one thing that really helps planning trips, is just kind of learning from what other people do or have experienced, and you can kind of adapt that to your own trip coming up. So and
lastly, if you're down in Disney World and need to know what to do when a hurricane comes through, reach out to us. Let us know. We will give you our best advice on what to do and what not to do during a hurricane. But this is our recap of our Disney World 2022 adventures.
The only way I can kind of sum it up is Olaf's line. What is this? This is what we call controlling things when things feel out of control. Yeah. So that's definitely the tagline for this trip.
That is the tagline for this trip.
So,
but for this week's episode of the Team Unicorn Podcast, I am Tyler.
I'm Sammy.
And it's been magical.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Team Unicorn Podcast. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, like, and review wherever you are listening, and follow us on Instagram to keep up with all things Team Unicorn. And remember, stay magical.